host, Anjali Ramgoolam.
And I'm Meghan Chipman. Today we'll be showing 4 documentaries by our very own Centennial students. The documentaries will be about video games, the effects of technology on today's society, to fitness, and to OSAP debts.
We also have a special guest coming in today, a stand-up comedian from the west side of Toronto, Nitin Sakuya. We will be joining us today on The Journal, but first, let's get to our first documentary about video games produced by the beautiful Jordan Heguy.
Documentary showcases the ups and downs of video games made from today, in comparison from way back playback. Let's take a look.
My name is Jesse Saunders, and as you can see, I spend way too much money on video games. Playing video games is something that I've always done and has always been with me. Growing up, my dad had an original Nintendo. My first memory is sitting on my dad's lap, playing the first couple levels of the original Mario. By far, the hardest video game that I've ever played and haven't just given up on after a couple levels is Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. And Zelda 2 is by far one of the most brutal, unforgiving, painful games that I've ever played in my life. I don't think that necessarily video games themselves have become easier. One of the games I'm working on right now, BioShock Infinite, playing it on the hardest difficulty, which is 1999 mode, is absolutely unforgiving and hard. And another good example of a hard video game nowadays is the Dark Souls, Demon Souls series. I think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that a lot of old video games were ports of arcade games. So I mean, those games and arcades were meant to literally just take all your money as a kid and keep you playing. A lot of games now are more story-driven. You know, they have graphics to really make video games more like movies. So there's a lot more to video games as opposed to just getting to the end and saving the princess like it used to be. The Resident Evil franchise is a great example of a franchise that's become easier over time. But when the original one came out, it was purely a survival horror game, and it was like nothing you'd really ever seen before in video games. You didn't have the ammo to mow down all the zombies in front of you. You had to strategically dodge them, and this is a franchise that by now has evolved more into a third-person shooter where you always have ammo, you always know where you're going, and you never feel lost. So that's a good example of a franchise that's definitely become easier. And I'm the type of gamer where I'd prefer my games as big as possible. I think we're always going to have video games that challenge players. Even if the mainstream gaming market goes towards a more cinematic feel where it's meant to more play through for the storyline, there will always be games that come out in the indie market like Super Meat Boy that are meant to literally drive players insane. And the second that the gaming universe stops giving players challenge, it's going to die.
Besides video games, I find that technology in general can be a big distraction. Here's a documentary produced by Garri about youth and their reliance on technology. Check it out.
I need some way of contacting people and something to do, pass the time, playing games constantly, so. Become Amish for a month? Probably not. I'm always online doing something. If it's not some kind of social network, searching up videos, searching up information. So I don't have time to read books that don't come in e-format.
I stopped using my phone for Christmas break because Professor Malcolm challenging us not to use our cell phones for for the March break, but you know, I thought it was a pretty interesting challenge, so I tried it out. When I was younger, I used to play pretend with my siblings. I have 2 sisters and 1 brother, and back when we were very little, we used to play a lot of games, and we would pretend to be like dogs, or you know, play house, you know, or pretend to be on a magical adventure or a quest to find something, and I think it was pretty fun. It was really good.
The exposure of kids nowadays to technology, it kind of is a good thing and kind of a bad thing, just because in a good way, they're able to get the stuff that they need to know right away. In a bad way, they're expecting things to come to them a lot easier, as opposed to going out of their way, going to library, reading up, actually getting the information, as opposed to just Spark Notes online or Wikipedia, and just actually assert themselves in doing things, as well as exercise. Kids don't go outside anymore, right? If they want to meet their friends, they talk on Skype, or they play Xbox or PlayStation, and they connect that way. So I think overall it can be a good thing, but right now it kind of seems like a bad thing because they're not really being kids and going outside and enjoying life.
To be honest, I guess I'll start with the negative because I feel it's more of a disadvantage that the kids of today that are growing up, I mean, for goodness sake, a 2-year-old could use you know, an iPad, right? A 2-year-old can use an iPad, and you know, somebody who's a lot older would have a more difficult time to use that gadget. And you know, the 2-year-old is not using it for anything more than entertainment. And it's getting a lot harder to control the kids because they're using these gadgets, and it's a demand, and they're constantly using it. And since they're constantly using it, it's almost like a need for it. They need it, and so they can't function without it, or so they believe so, because they've started at such a young age. It's almost like drugs. For the pro side though, like, because it's good, I think it's good that they're starting at a young age, and you know, slowly over life they'll develop that skill for using that technology, you know, and they'll be able to better adapt to future equipment.
I have to admit, I'm guilty of constantly being on my phone for no reason, but I'm interested in seeing the next documentary. But first, we have a special guest in today. Let's welcome a growing sensation in the world of stand-up comedy, Nitin Sakuya. Hi, Nitin, and
Hi.
welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you for asking. How are you doing?
Pretty good, thank you. So I've got to ask you, now that you're in stand-up, do your friends ever expect you to be funny all the time?
Friends, no, not as much as like coworkers. My friends, they're tired of my stand-up. They're tired of me trying to be funny. And like, I think I have funny friends, and when you try to be funny with your friends, I think my friends are funnier than me, so every time I tell a joke, it has to be up to par, right? Or else it's not, why are you telling us this? So it gets annoying, but yeah.
Right. So I heard you went to Waterloo after high school. What happened with that?
I went to Waterloo University right after high school. I didn't know I wanted to be a comedian yet. I was studying math and business double degree with Waterloo and Laurier, and then I dropped out after a year. And I started doing comedy, and it was really cool. Like a year into comedy, I got an invitation at Waterloo to come back and do comedy there for the school.
Oh.
And it was really nice getting a letter, because the last time I was there, they gave me a letter telling me to go home, right? So it was a nice change.
That's cool. So when did you have a knack for stand-up?
Well, I always wanted to do it, but I always said I can't. Like, that's not a realistic thing. So I never pursued it, and then one day I was like, forget it, I'm gonna try it. Man, it was good.
Nice. And what was the first time being on stage like?
It was a rush. It was amazing. It's the best feeling in the world. You're in the now.
cool. That's really neat. So has there ever been a time when you've been on stage and nobody laughed at your jokes?
All the time. Oh yeah. I've done shows with like 3 people. I've done a show with like 1 person. So if you can't make that guy laugh, nobody laughs, right? So,
Yeah, good point. Well, that's all the time we have for today, Nitish. Thank you for coming in. It was a pleasure having you here.
No problem. Thank you.
No problem. So, Nitish will be back to give us a little bit of a performance soon after this next documentary by Nick Aliwalas. It's about a man's journey from muscles to protein shakes. If you're interested in getting fit for the summer, this video may help you, so check it out.
At my heaviest, I was about 230 pounds.
I've been dating Pete for 5 years now. Yeah, when I first met him, he was a bit bigger. And then about 2 years ago, yeah, he started trying to lose weight, go to the gym, be more healthy.
Well, it was around it's my 29th birthday. I was like, shoot, I'm turning 30 next year. I want to start a brand new image, brand new me, brand new chapter of my life, and I want to be healthy.
So how much do you weigh now?
About 175.
If you look at the picture from when we first met, like, to now, like, it's such a big difference.
You know, I was tired of being tired, sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'd walk upstairs and I'd be huffing and puffing. Fitness was just, I think, a natural progression for me. I did change the way I eat, or the way I ate. So I cut out a lot of sugars, cut out a lot of carbs. Just was smarter about when to eat those things. Portion control, taking in more protein. So I got a protein supplement, and just doing a lot of research and a lot of trial and error. A lot more energy. I find my work, the physical parts of my work, to be a lot easier. I'm more active, so I like to play basketball, so I play basketball more and easier. I don't have any more joint or knee pain that I used to have. I'm more confidence. I just feel really good, and I don't know why I didn't do this before. Well, when a lot of people think of weight loss, they think, oh man, I got a diet, I can't eat certain things. It's really a lifestyle change. You gotta change the way you eat, change what you eat. So when people say oh, I'm on a diet, it shouldn't be that. A diet is just short term. If you wanna change your body, it has to be a lifestyle change. So you have to do everything. What they say is abs are built in the kitchen. You are what you eat, right? So if you're eating junk food and fast food all the time, it's gonna show. But at the same time, if you're eating good, natural, healthy foods, I also quit smoking just over a year ago. And that was also a really tough thing to do. Just being healthier it just makes sense. In the beginning, I went like 5-6 days a week. Just straight cardio. I didn't really do any weight training or resistance training. I was just doing a lot of running. And then I gradually got into weight training and doing more research on that.
Actually, I just started going to the gym with him, and he's been training me. He teaches me how to do like proper posture first before you start doing like the actual weights and stuff.
And now I'm still kind of going towards that body image goal for myself, and just fitness goal. I shouldn't say body image goal. That's just the look. I'm aiming for functional strength, and that will just also go with the aesthetics too. So for anyone who is looking to do this lifestyle change for themselves, don't wait. You'll feel better in the end. You'll really regret not doing this. sooner. You'll feel better, you'll look better. Your quality of life will be impacted immensely. And it's all about just doing a lot of little things, but just stay disciplined, stay on it, and you'll get there.
It's such an inspiration. Makes me want to go to the gym and get my squat on.
I agree, Megan. I'm pretty sure a lot of people can agree with me that the hard part is starting, but it can be harder to keep a healthy lifestyle when there are debts to be paid, including OSAP. Let's take a look at this documentary produced by Yodit Teclemariam.
Lawrence. I'm the Vice President Education at the Ryerson Students Union. This is the Student Center. It's student-run, student-owned. We represent all 30,000 full-time undergrad and graduate students here on campus. We operate off of 3 pillars. We provide cost-saving services, we provide awesome events, and we also provide advocacy services for our students.
I'm one of the coordinators at the Racialized Students Collective. It's one of the equity centers here. In Ontario, you pay the highest, like some $7,000 minimum if you're going to university, and upwards to 8, 9, 10, and then you have to pay for materials, for books and all that. It puts unnecessary pressure on students. I take OSAP. I work 2 jobs during school and 3 jobs in the summer. My mom's a single parent, so I don't really ask for too much money from her. Her being a single parent gets me a couple grants occasionally, but it still doesn't measure up. It's like 1/7 of what I have to pay in a year.
The fact that we're getting charged illegal ancillary fees, these fees are what the institution or the administration just decides to charge students. For instance, there's an example of a graduation fee. It's around $40 or $50 that students have to pay. The fact that they're paying so much money to be here and they're not seeing a good enough return, and they just want us to take action and try to get the administration not increase our tuition fees.
I feel like I kind of lose out a little bit, I guess, because I know some of my peers can take internships, get more experience, and actually get involved on like campus papers and radio shows and work at MTV and Global and all these different things. If you have the means and you don't have to worry about money or time or anything like that, a lot of people can go out and get it in first and second year. I guess I could spend 15 hours a week at an internship, or I could spend 15 hours a week making some money. Even I have a friend who would actually like miss classes sometimes to go to her job, and it's like, well, I need to pay for the school and then actually get to go to school. It's kind of like she has to give or take and choose between the two. But it really is terrible that I've become so resigned to it, right? Because having $7,000 tuitions, $8,000 tuitions, like it's kind of the norm. Meanwhile, I know someone who goes to school in Quebec, because she was born in Quebec, so her college tuition is $200 a semester.
We have the community food room at the Ryerson Students Union, and it's one of the 5 equity service groups that are available for students to access. And the reason why it's problematic, but it's good, but it's problematic because the bigger picture is, why do we need a food bank on a campus?
My name is Layla, and I'm in my 4th year. I'm studying early childhood studies. The community food room is accessible to all students, whether you're a part-time or full-time student, or pursuing your undergrad or graduate studies. Basically, all you have to do is sign a membership form, which is really just one piece of paper. The idea is that it's accessible to all students because we believe that tuition is already so high for all the students, and this is just a way to make getting food a little bit easier and providing a means for them to reduce their spending just by a little bit. So
it's like the people who are making decisions in terms of the budget, in terms of like at the government level, those folks understand and know that there are these things called food banks on campus, and it's like they don't realize that that's problematic, because students shouldn't have to be resorting to a food bank. In the past, we've participated in the Drop Fees rally that took place for a number of consecutive years. Recently, we are taking action at the Board of Governors level. The Board of Governors are the highest decision-making body in terms of finances and operations-wise at Ryerson. And they made a decision to frivolously spend money on painting a blue road that is now really ugly and really useless to students, and now they have to repaint it and fix it again. $200,000 went to paint this road, and nobody consulted with the students. Nobody asked if there was anything else that the money could have gone towards.
It seems like if you can look at a chart of statistics and how it is for students to get an education these days, and then you add in the job market, I feel like we're stuck in a cul-de-sac. You just keep going around about over and over again, and they make it seem like it's working, but it's not.
One of the comments that frustrated me the most was last year when I attended the Board of Governors budget vote. And unfortunately, one of them was like, I don't understand why students feel that tuition fees need to go down. Like, it's all about budgeting. If you just know how to budget your money properly, then everything's a-okay. That's not actually the case. It's not the fact that students aren't budgeting properly, it's the fact that we don't have enough money because we're having to put our money into like such large amounts of things like tuition fees. It's just ridiculous, some of the comments along those lines that we've heard.
Now let's waste no time and welcome back to the stage Nitish Sakuya. Yeah!
What's going on, the Journal? Give it up for your audience, guys. Yeah! All right. My name is Nitish Sakuya, not Sajuka. So let's give it up for Anjali and Meghan. See how I got your name right? I got it right on the first try, guys. My name is Nitish, though. I like that name now. I didn't like it growing up because people used to call me Natits. You know what I mean? And that sucks, right? Being a man, if your nickname has the word tits in it, you try your hardest in life not to have tits. You know what I mean? So I've been going to the gym and shit, and I'm hoping one day they'll call me Napex, right? Thanks, guys. One laugh, I heard it. But I'm actually getting used to the name now. I was actually driving down the street the other day and I seen a car with a license plate that said Nitish. That has never happened to me before. My name has never been on somebody else's property. You know what I mean? But seeing that for the first time, I felt like a normal kid named Jake at a Niagara Falls gift shop, right? It was like, it's like, they got my plate, man. They never have my plate. It was an amazing feeling, so I stole it. And I have that plate now, guys. But I did come to the conclusion that Indian people's names, they just sound like noises that a body part makes, right? Because I came home the other day and my mom was watching an Indian show on TV and there's this close-up of this old lady. She's looking right into the camera and she's going, ahem, ahem. And I'm like, yo, she needs water, obviously, right? That's what the scene is. But then no, it's not. Cuts to the next scene, it's the scene of her son. His name was Ahem. That's fucked up. Because I met some guy the other day, he introduced himself to me, then he asked me for my name. I said, I'm Nitish. Jordan. He said, bless you. Fuck that guy. He thought my name was a sneeze, right? Yeah. So that's like, imagine if like me and Ahem grew up together or something, right? That would be horrible. Imagine we were like in grade 6, same school. One day we come to class, we have a substitute teacher. She's a little bit sick, she has a cold, right? She comes in, she's like, ahem, Nitish. We're both like here, you know what I mean? We think she's doing attendance. It's embarrassing, guys. It's embarrassing. I met this lady at my work the other day, she just started working with us. She had a nameplate at her desk, and her first initial is an L, and her last name was spelled out A-S-S-H-E-I-R. And I asked her, I'm like, yo, how do you say that, right? Is it us here? She said, no, it's us hair. So naturally, I had to ask, I'm like, what does the L stand for? And I swear to God, she said Lotta. Her name was Lotta as hair, you know what I mean? As soon as those words came out of her mouth, I was like, me too, you know what I mean? We are the same, right? I met this guy the other day, his name was Poopinder, all right? Imagine if Poopinder ever introduced himself to like a Trinidadian man, right? Imagine how that conversation will go down, right? He'd be like, hello, I'm Poopinder. Trinidadian guy would be like, you pooping where? Right? I asked him, I was like, hey, Poopinder. Can I call you Poop? Right? He's like, I don't give a shit. So we're good, guys. I was hanging out with my friends. We were talking about our favorite type of food, right? And I was like, yo, I love meat, man. I love meat. My friend's all immature and shit. He's like, oh yeah, you like meat, huh? You like meat? You like man meat, huh? You like man meat? And I was like, no, I fucking hate that guy. Man meat's a dick, guys. So this is how I look. And it's unfortunate, being an Indian man with a beard, people look at me funny, right? Like I went to go do comedy in Thunder Bay. That's a 17-hour drive up north, and it gets weird out there. You know what I mean? People look at me funny. I went up to this, at this show. I came off stage. This guy comes up to me, and he goes, hey, I have to ask you about that beard. I was like, sure, go ahead. He's like, are you growing that for religious purposes? I was like, yeah, but like not for God or anything. I'm growing it because I religiously watch Sons of Anarchy. You know what I mean? That's a good ass show, right? Beards are sick. And he goes, oh, I had to ask. You got a very Muslim face. The fuck does that mean? It's like, fuck you, buddy. You got a very Christian neck. Fuck this guy, right? Fuck this guy in his Buddhist belly, man. I was pissed, bro. I was pissed. I was offended, too. I told him, I'm like, hey, man, you owe me a drink. And by the looks of it, you got a very Jewish wallet. You know what I mean? But he didn't buy me a drink, guys. The other day, I was actually just walking down the street. Some guy comes up to me and he goes, hey, assalamu alaikum, brother. You see what I mean? I'm not Muslim. I can't even say it. All I could respond was, hey, right back at you, buddy. You know what I mean? And I guess that proves I do have a Muslim face. I mean, it sucks, guys. All right. I don't know if you guys can tell by looking at my face, but I'm from Brampton. And the problem with that is that I'm originally from Toronto. I was born and raised in Toronto, but I currently reside in Brampton. That's just because nature called. I went home. But that was the only reason, I swear. Thank you guys for listening. My name is Nitish. Let's bring back your hosts, Anjali and Meghan, back up here. Thank you guys very much.
Good job.
Very good, Nitish. That was actually really funny.
Thank you very much.
I expected just that much, actually.
So, Meghan, do you think that you could do something like that?
Absolutely not. I don't think I could ever do stand-up just because I feel like you've really got to think on the spot, and I'm not too good with jokes in that way. Like, I think I'm funny sometimes, but I'm not funny all the time. It's just me who thinks.
You really have to think on the spot later. You write your jokes first. You learn to tell them, then you think later.
I feel like I'd ramble on a little bit too much.
I feel like I'd have my mom in the back like, woo, yeah, my #1 fan.
That one person, she's like, Anjali!
That's my daughter, that's my daughter.
I've never brought my mom to a show.
No?
Way too many dick jokes. Way too many. Sorry for my language. I don't know. I couldn't do that.
So, Meghan, have you heard that one about the toilet? Never mind, it's too dirty.
Oh!
Yeah.
Yeah, no, anytime I try to tell a joke, I always end up saying the answer first, and it's not funny. You laugh at me for being a loser, and I'm like,
I kind of have those moments where, like, I'll forget the rest of the joke, so I'll have to take, like, a couple pauses in between, and I'm like, I forget where I was going with this, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's all I have.
You improv, make up your own ending. You know
but then it's just, like, doesn't make sense in the ending.
It's fine.
why did the chicken cross the road? Oh, because it was holding a spoon. That's my improv.
Oh,
Doesn't make
nice try.
bad, right? That's
Nice.
why I don't improv jokes.
Yeah, just never do that.
Never again.
That's a bad joke.
I wear zebra sweaters to make up for it.
That's true. They're cute.
Yeah. I
Wow.
think I was looking forward to a cheetah sweater, but then I was like, oh, I don't know if it's like, I just couldn't do the cheetah. Zebras were way to go.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think about Nitish's stand-up?
Again.
Again, I loved it.
I loved
I
it
really
too.
liked it.
I feel like I need to learn how to do something like that, eh?
Yeah, I think that'd be kind of fun. It'd be funny to see you get up here and do some comedy,
Yeah.
stand up. It'd be a lot of fun.
Okay. Wow.
Well, that's all the time we have for the journal. I'm Meghan Chipman.
And I'm Anjali Ramgoolam.
I'm Nitish.
Thank you, Nitish, for coming. We'll all see you next week at the Journal.
Bye.
Bye.